Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 61. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm your host, Todd Oxtra, joined by my co-host extraordinaire, the Canardian, Mike Carabin. How you doing, buddy?
I am great, and officially an Xbox Canardian. I got my custom. I think I showed you this a couple of weeks ago, or a week or so ago. But I don't think we've had an episode of our show since then. I think we were kind of guesting on another show that we won't talk about too much yet because it hasn't been released, but I'm very excited. My FanFest customized hoodie, so I'm officially walking around with Canardian on my back, and feels kind of cool to be Xbox FanFest team merchandise kind of thing. It's neat.
Bought and paid for by Xbox. Listen, kids, anything Mark says, he'll have to, say, oh, by the way, I'm sponsored by Xbox or something like that. Yeah.
I paid for the damn hoodie. This isn't some sort of freebie that Xbox Canada sent me. Although I'm not opposed to being.
No, you're not below that.
By Xbox, no, definitely not. Xbox Canada, if you're listening, I can go through a drive-through at McDonald's as well. No, that's I totally paid for this hoodie. I'm happy to do it, and I'm the lettering. Every time I look at the hoodie, it's like the bright green lettering, and I'm super tempted to order that new like neon glowing green controller. And I'm just really trying to hold off for the design lab to come back because I want to make my own controller. But every time they release a new one, I'm like, I love it. Give me.
I saw something today. It was like they partnered with an artist. I don't know if you saw that, where it was a polka dot controller with like all of this different design, and it was paired with polka dot, the new headphones too. Ooh. And I'm like, that is interesting. They're getting really interesting with their collaborations. They're getting a little bit more freewheeling in what they do. I mean, that mini fridge of the Series X is coming out. They said it's going to be widely available. We've got the high-end Xbox headphones coming out. So it's really interesting how they're playing, which I think is important because a brand and where it plays really can start to tell a different story and where they're going. So I think that's pretty cool. And
it is neat that, and we're seeing stuff on both ends of the spectrum. You talk, like you said, we're getting that super high end headphone set that is like as expensive as a new Xbox. It's crazy. And that's for like high end audiophiles that, I never used to put much attention into headphones. And then a pair of AirPod Pros. And man, the difference that those things can put out with like noise cancellation or like I forget what they call it, spatial audio or something like that, where basically if you move your head like it sounds. I legitimately thought they were broken at first, and I thought the sound was loudly coming out of my iPad. And I was just watching like an episode of Ted Lasso, like it wasn't even anything like audio intense kind of thing, and I was like, what the hell? These things are crazy. So like, now that I've experienced those, I'm like, oh, maybe money on headphones is like a worthwhile thing. But on the other end of the spectrum, you have very affordable options for the Xbox headset. So it is kind of cool to see that they are going like, I'm not going to say low end because apparently the first party Xbox headphones are really good. But they're going like, entry level and then super high end too for like anyone and any budget. It's really cool to see those kind of options coming in this generation.
Yeah, I mean, Sony, who is a hardware maker of high-end audio equipment, they make high-end headphones that are fantastic and get great reviews, yet they don't apply that towards PlayStation, where they have the 99 Pulse 3D Pulse, which I like a lot. It's really cool, works really well. And I've got the Xbox $99 set, so it's really great how they're embracing that versus having to go third party. I still think that neither of them are embracing the other party's console though, so you kind of need something to bridge that gap. And the Arctic systems where they have adapted that, so they basically play with all of the presets.
I was just going to say my Steel series, they're not being replaced anytime soon because they work with everything. I was using them on my Switch like 2 nights ago, and then flicked the switch and went right back to my Xbox that same night. Like it's so easy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and then you've got Nintendo, who makes a squid dongle. Did they ever make the squid dongle, Mark?
Oh yeah, they released that. Oh yeah.
But
That
Yeah,
was
I
just
remember.
not widely available and absolutely terrible. But that was they were like, hey, no one likes a clunky headset, so here's a squid dongle that has 60. It was like hooking up a GB-A to your GameCube. Like, it was just ridiculous, and
Yeah, I
it came
mean,
out and fizzled, and there we go.
they're bringing back their awesome hardware, like the Pokemon Snap printer. Mark, you're going to talk about that game, but yeah, there you go. I mean, that's what you want. You get the Pikachu sleeve on that. I mean, that
Don't
is
even
sophisticated
joke.
hardware.
I almost ordered that today. Don't even joke.
See,
I saw a link go up on Amazon and I was like, I don't need this, but I want it, but I'm not gonna get it. But I'm real tempted. I literally I just shut my screen off and was just like, no, I just gotta go for a walk.
See, Nintendo knows their fans, and
I
they
know.
really do.
It's
And
terrible.
I always tell my son, Nintendo puts the least amount of effort in that can maximize the amount of money they can make. Why spend money when you don't have to?
But that printer is not just Switch specific. That can hook up to
No,
your
that
smartphone. You
is,
can print a whole bunch of other fun little photos.
yeah.
There's some fun stuff with it. They are cute little photo printers, and I might still get one, but I won't get the Pikachu edition because it's like $50 more than the regular one for a
Probably
Pikachu
impossible to find.
sleeve. It's like I just whatever.
Even go to Etsy and
Anyway,
get like a sleeve anyway. Somebody will crochet one. It'll be beautiful.
exactly.
Love it.
Just like my Switch dock protectors. They were
Exactly.
Anyway, we've rambled for quite a bit, so we don't have a special guest this week. It's just the gruesome twosome. Whatever
Absolutely. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
want to call us. Do you want to jump right into what we've been playing?
Absolutely, yeah. So been a little light, so I'll start off. So I was really all over the place. So a game that launched in, I guess you call it early access on Game Pass is called Second Extinction. I don't know if this is anywhere else. I don't know if it's just on standard on PC, but this is on Xbox and Game Pass for PC as well. It's called Second Extinction. This is essentially Left 4 Dead, or yeah, I guess Left 4 Dead is the best way to call this, with dinosaurs. It's a squad based, go in, you've got limited story. They call it a campaign, but really, just like Left 4 Dead, not much story whatsoever. You've got different things you can do along the way that are kind of like objectives, like collect dinosaur eggs. But you land on this planet almost like in these, like the orbital drop shock troopers, Halo,
Oh yeah.
those pods. You are one of those pods.
All
You
right.
land on this planet. Apparently, there was experiments gone awry, and these dinosaurs now are wreaking havoc, and you are there with the squad. You pick kind of your class. You can pick a male, a female, a burly person, whatever. And so you go down there, hopefully with the squad, and you just go and take on velociraptors. You take on like the spitters that spit out the goo, but they turn invisible, which is a
See,
pain in the ass.
I'm not going to be able to play that game because for anyone that doesn't follow me on Facebook, Finn threw up in my mouth today. So I don't think I can mentally handle a spitting dinosaur. That's going to give me some real vivid nightmares. So I might hold off on that. I was just going to say
no,
this
you can,
game
but you
sounds
can
great.
dodge, Mark. This is where you can really show. Well, if I'd been in a video game, I would have dodged Finn. See, there you go. So, but yeah, there's big dinosaurs. I saw a Triceratops. He ran me over. This is a game that it looks pretty good, but this is definitely early access. This game, I captured some footage, and I was at like 1 frame per second at points. And I have a decent PC. It's a RTX 2070 laptop, and it was like just chugging, and I'm like, what is going on? A second ago it was great, and you could uncap your frame rate, do all these things. It's great. But then next time it was like ran perfectly. And then as you die and you get basically you run out of health, there's basically a mechanic. If you had a teammate, they could resurrect you, bring you back. Playing solo, though, you don't. So you can resurrect yourself unless the dinosaurs continue to attack you, which they completely did, Mark. So I was like floundering. I'm like, I think I can get back. Nope, they're not letting me. Yeah, so this is a game that's not meant to be played solo. It definitely is not. It's too difficult. You just get overwhelmed. They had some like special moves. Like everybody has like some special moves like in the bumpers. This is the thing that made me mad. The grenade, where should the grenade be?
One of the top buttons.
No, it's on. No, Mark. Of course, you have to select it with the circle, or with the directional pad, and then you can throw it.
No.
It was horrible. It was a bad decision. Like, who did this? Yeah, I've got bumpers for these special. I mean, they could have obviously been directional because you use them less than you would a grenade, which would seem like part of your arsenal. But regardless, I see this could be a very fun experience, but this is not a high-end game. This is a very much it is what it is. It's nothing more than that, although it was like kind of really shown predominantly at the Xbox third-party showcase. Remember when Xbox 3?
Yeah, I was just going to say, this is the one that we saw in that showcase. And even back then, it looked like a B or C tier kind of game that we used to get like back in the day, where it was like, this isn't great. It's not the best. It's going to be fun for a little bit. Hopefully you don't pay full price for it. Or like that, it's so luckily, it's on xCloud or it's on Game Pass. So yeah, and I wasn't blown away by the footage then. And what you're saying, it sounds like it's not going to blow me away now. But with Game Pass, is it at least kind of worth checking out if you can grab a couple of friends? You're saying the solo is not.
It would be much better with friends, because it's like, I'm dying, please help me, or you screw your buddy over, or you have hijinks with dinosaurs, which everybody's always imagined hijinks with dinosaurs. Yeah. I mean, so it definitely could play out and be a lot of fun, but in this the way I played it with solo, it just does not live up to the hype. But I mean, we had a game like World War Z, which nobody expected to be a success, and that game has done very well. With a franchise like that movie series. Remember that movie series? Oh, that one movie with Tom Cruise, and they made this game. But yeah, so check it out. It's there. It's on Game Pass now, early access, and that's exactly what it is.
You know what this game needs? I think it needs some Cadillacs.
And dinosaurs, yes. Very good. Very good. I thought you were going to say like Jeff Goldblum.
Well, everything could use Jeff Goldblum. But yes. I'm thinking they should have used this as a tie-in, a way to bring back Cadillacs and dinosaurs. Just forget the Second Extinction name. Just go straight into licensed franchise from the early 90s, short-lived cartoon.
And Brawler, Capcom Brawler, right? That was a Capcom arcade brawler.
Did they actually come up with a game for that?
Absolutely, Mark.
Really? I just remember the cartoon.
Yes, okay. Absolutely. It was one of those Capcom games like Predator versus Alien versus Predator, the Punisher game. But yeah, those type of licensed Capcom brawler games. Yes.
All right. I might have to look that one up. I may have played that and just completely forgot about it, but like I really remember the cartoon. So, all right, Second Extinction. That's fun. I'll have to. I do have that downloaded, but I haven't jumped into it. So.
I'll give it a try,
Yeah.
Or we could talk about the xCloud beta really quick, because.
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah, because I was telling you, because I have that. So I have it on PC, and I have iOS phones and iPads and things as well. And one of the things I wanted to do with this was play potentially cooperatively with my son. But I couldn't figure it out, Mark. And I was telling him, like, I kick out my son when he goes on, when he's on the Xbox, and I just do it on stream. It shouldn't do that. And I finally figured out why. If you are logged in to the Xbox and you log into xCloud, even though if my son has switched his profile so he's playing, it still thinks I'm like somebody who's trying to steal Game Pass, right?
Right.
Somewhere else. So to do this, you have to be logged out of a device.
I wonder if that's something to do with Quick Resume.
Potentially is. It potentially is, or it's the fact that they don't have a family Game Pass yet. Like they had the Xbox Live Gold family plan where you can have multiple people. So without that now, it's probably their way to keep people, versus sharing their Game Pass remotely and having multiple people being on.
Because earlier, I mean, we were talking, and I'll get into my experience so far with xCloud. I finally got into the beta on iOS, but. So we were talking earlier about my recent experience, or more specifically, my wife's recent experience playing the Lego Harry Potter collection on the Xbox. She's played it on her Switch before, but it was on sale for dirt cheap. She said, you know what, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to play this on the Xbox. She's really become becoming a fan of the Xbox controller, and things look so great on the Xbox. So she said, why not? So she's been playing that, and we started noticing that some of the achievements, and she 100%s those games. So like when she goes through, she goes through. But a lot of the achievements were popping on my profile, even though when she logs into the game, it presents the profiles that are on the system. There's only a couple of them, and she picks herself and she continues her save file. So what we figured out was happening was, even though she's picking her profile when she starts the game, if she's not logged into her profile on the home screen, then it's not counting. So we changed all of her colors to like bright pink, so you can tell on the home screen who is logged in. It is not standard Xbox green. But now she's in this little conundrum where she's unlocked so many achievements on my profile. She's basically got to delete the save and replay the whole game again to try to pop these achievements on her profile. Super annoying. And but that was fixed. So it sounds like even more of an annoying problem for you, having to log out completely and not just like make sure you're the one logged in. So that's kind of a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it does open that way, though, that I can play on xCloud. I can play Destiny 2 with Logan finally, because
that's cool.
Destiny 2 is not cross-play yet, and Destiny 2 is not on the Xbox Game Pass yet, so for PC. So this is the way we can play together. We can play Outriders together, and that way, even if a friend comes over, Mark, so this is kind of fun. If your friend doesn't have a console, he can play, you could play on xCloud, and he could play on your Xbox, and you could play together, essentially online, together, cooperatively, sitting next to each other. So once again, Mark, couch co-op wins.
There we go. Little
I gave
preview
you
for
another argument there. You could have used. Yes.
There we go.
Yeah. So what do you think of it? What do you think of it so far?
You know what? I've had a pretty decent experience. I've been going in and playing stuff that I already played, specifically so I could kind of gauge the performance and see what it's like. But I've been playing on both my iPhone and my iPad. Haven't tested out on like a Safari browser on my MacBook or something like that, but I figured it'd be pretty close to the same experience. But I played stuff like new Super Lucky's Tale, beat a couple of stages there, which I wanted to test because I knew how the platforming elements should be. And there are, it's a fairly easy game, but there are some like specifically timed jumps and stuff, especially in later stages, that I kind of went back to. Played the Halo Master Chief Collection, just a little bit of Halo 1 just to kind of mess around and see how things were. Jumped into even like older stuff like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, which I had never downloaded before. So really cool that way. Have not tried out. I should try Second Extinction this way so I don't have to like download anything, but it's been a great experience so far, honestly. New Super Lucky's Tale. I also played Wolfenstein, which was pretty quick and pretty good, and only slowed down really at one point when I died. So I was saying like Wolfenstein's going to be, a first person shooter. It's going to be very quick. I should play Doom as well. I should try that one. But those games, I was like, if something's off, it's just not. This is going to break the experience. Like if the timing's even off a tiny little bit. And I did notice a tiny bit in New Super Lucky's Tale. At one point, it kind of slowed down, so the button presses were even just half a millisecond off. But I could feel it, and you could really tell for the platforming. But for Wolfenstein, it was really, really smooth. Like ridiculously smooth. And I was messaging my brother right afterwards and was just like, that was like a really good experience. The only time that the stream slowed down was after I died. And I died from my own stupid fault of just like walking into a big encampment with a minigun and just being like, eat it, Nazis. And, it was like, no. But yeah, it was like, that's the only time it slowed down. So I don't know if they're doing some sort of like smart loading thing when they can be like, you know what, we don't need, it's just a loading screen. It's a death screen, whatever. Let's save some bandwidth or cut back on the bandwidth and then push all the bandwidth through when he's doing something fast. But that I found it really either well timed or just really, really weird that's when it slowed down. But otherwise it's been a very pleasant experience, and I've been able to just mount my phone on my Xbox controller and hook that up, and now with the new iOS 14.5, You can do PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series controllers. So those hookups, that kind of stuff can be seamless. Whereas, so far I've only tested it with an Xbox One controller. So really great experience.
Yeah, I tried it with a series. I've tried it with Xbox One. Controller works great with that. I've got the mount. The mount I have though, it works on the Xbox One controller really well. But for the Series X, it's just off a little bit, and it doesn't sit snugly, so it makes me mad. I'm like, ah. Yeah. So, but it's really cool. But the Series X does work now, so I'd use it on PC. Works great. The connection seems to be better. I don't know what they did. Awesome. Finally, maybe fix the connection. Great. Although I was playing Destiny 2, and actually Destiny 2 ran really well, so that's awesome because now that's a game you want to play with others, and maybe whatever we do. And I told my friend, I'm like, we could do a fire team. Myself, you, and Logan, Sean. Let's do a fire team. Perfect. No, I couldn't get vibration to work. So I'm not sure if it's supported on xCloud or not. I don't know. I would think it would be, but I don't know. Yeah, it's a weird one. So I haven't figured that one out. What I did try, Mark, I have an iPhone SE, which it's a tiny screen, and I tried a game called Battle Chasers, which I don't know if you remember that game, but it's a turn-based RPG, but it's based on American comic book. Man, it has on-screen controls. It is virtually unplayable with on-screen controls because the on-screen controls just cover up the whole screen. The characters are so small, the dialogue is too small, and I was just trying to manipulate the menu with a screen. It just doesn't work. So
yeah, I use the touchscreen controls for like 3 seconds in New Super Lucky Style. I was like, nope, not for me.
I mean, it works. It could work for some things. It makes sense, but less touch is good touch. Less touch is good touch, I would say. Going back in the day, I don't know, take it for what you will. But I mean, it's one of those things where it's nice to have it, but I don't think it's the optimal way to play. Now, on an iPad, could be night and day.
It depends on your iPad. See, that's the problem I've been running into because the iPad that I have is the 12.9 inch big mother iPad Pro, and I find holding that, like I'm gonna hold it up on the screen here, and it's just massive, right? Like it's
gonna have carpal tunnel syndrome,
unwieldy kind of big. So the touchscreen controls, if they're not well placed, you're going to be really moving your thumb over, and the balance is going to be off. So standard size iPad, even iPad mini, might be optimal. I'd love to try those or hear someone who has, but for me, my iPad's too big for me to not use a controller. And even though I'm using an iPhone 11 Pro, which has a decent sized screen, I still find the same kind of problem as your SE, where my thumbs are in the way of half the screen, and the touchscreen controls are really kind of taken away from it. So in both instances, for me, give me a controller.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about the iPad in a tablet is, take that where you got a decent size, in your case, you've got 11 or 12 inch screen. I've got the original iPad 10 inch. I don't know, whatever it was, that version, 9.7 inch, whatever. But that's a perfect, just secondary screen that is perfectly, it's like having a console experience in that instance on a TV, which is great. So I like that flexibility. Now, I would say, are you tempted, like I hear everybody else, a backbone controller or one of those attachable controller to your phone? Are you at all tempted about that or no?
Maybe. And I'll say on the stipulation that I haven't tested this outside of my house yet. Nova Scotia, where I live, our cases started to go back up. There've been a couple of things happen recently that we're basically right now in the middle of a 2-week lockdown, and it's zero contact. So before we used to have like a bubble that we could see, so I could still see my parents, and that was great. And I was kind of restricted outside of that little like 5 or 10 person bubble or whatever the restrictions were at the time. Now it's no one. So we are just here. So I haven't been able to test this outside of my house. So there's always a controller there. Now, if this works, hopefully later in the summer, I can travel, I can go to the cottage, I can go to my parents. If this really works well on those kind of internets that are less than my super fast gigabit speed here in my house, then I might think about options that allow me to take a controller that is not as clunky and big as an Xbox controller, but I don't mind carrying that. I throw it in a bag and it's fine. But if this is like my Switch replacement, then yeah, I'll be looking at something that's similar to a Joy-Con that can snap on the side of my phone and just kind of go with me anywhere. But for right now, the controller's doing it for me. But I'm not opposed to getting something else, even though my wife will probably kill me because, it's a 7,000th controller in the house.
Absolutely.
What about you? Are you thinking about that kind of stuff?
Well, yeah, probably not, unless I got a bigger phone. I'm like, at this point, I'm having a real regret getting the SE. I mean, and I'm even tempted. My son just got a Motorola Moto G Power 2021. The screen, it's like a 6.7-inch phone, beautiful screen, big real estate. I'm like, God, and that's a $200 and $189 phone. Modern Snapdragon. I mean, it's like, man, I kind of miss Android. So, I'm having like that, what do I do? I've had this for a year. Yeah, I've had it for a year, and I'm like, I want a bigger screen. So what can I do? What can I trade it in? But unfortunately, with iPhone, the next size would be what, the 12 mini?
The 12 mini would be that probably, yeah, I guess a similar pacing size to the SE, but it's a full screen.
Yeah.
Which is funny because, like I said, the 11 Pro and my wife has a 12, and I've seen like the 12 mini, and I'm like, I kind of like that. I kind of miss having like such a compact phone, and where, like I said, my iPad is my go-to screen because it's so big. So I don't need my phone to be massive anymore. So I'm just kind of like, even though the 11 size is like not super big, or the 12 size isn't like massive like the Max phones are, I'm still like, oh man, maybe like next time, if they're still doing the mini, like next time I'm ready for an upgrade, like I'll go with the tiny little phone and just rock that for a little bit. So it's funny hearing you like not like the tiny.
Yeah, I and it feels like with anything, never go smaller because you think it's a good idea and it's not. So I'm like, okay, but the problem with iPhone, it's like even like the most, like the mini, I think is still $600. I'm like, I don't need a $600 phone. The SE was $400. I'm like, I don't know. I'm just, I'm having regrets. Oh well, this is not a phone podcast, but if you want one, Mark potentially could revisit one on certain platforms, but we won't talk about that. Yeah, but I mean, I think it's an awesome. Now that it's available, it's getting out more and more. This is just a great. It's an accompanying service that really allows you more flexibility in how you game, which is nice, and it's really creating an argument to the Switch, which is kind of nice. Because if you like certain games, can't play on Switch, you can play them elsewhere, and it's part of something you're already playing for. So this is something where Xbox is pioneering. It's awesome, and we are going to get Series X cloud-based hardware soon, which means load times, Mark. The load times on this is all Xbox One load times. So it's even with that, it's like I'm waiting. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, this is going to be fantastic. So I bet that's going to be an E3.
It's just going to keep getting better.
Yeah, it's probably going to be an E3 announcement, which, by the way, you see that? E3 is going to have 3 big hosts. We've got all these shows coming. It's going to be fun. Although Konami out of the blue said, we're going to be there, and then they said they're not. I'm like, what would they show anyways?
So weird. Yeah. It was such a weird announcement. But, anyway, that's the xCloud. I'd love to hear what other people are experiencing with this because it is so new. And like I said, it's improving all the time. So I think it's just going to keep getting better. But I still want to test it on like an LTE. I want to know if anyone has a 5G phone or a plan. Like, how's that experience for you? Let us know at SeekerFriendsU or hit up Todd and I individually. And I just want to hear how this is for anyone that's into streaming and into streaming games.
Yeah, definitely. With that, though, I played a little bit of smaller experiences, Mark, going forward. I had some demos from this like Steam event back in the day, and a game that I saw on other services that you can play elsewhere is called Blood Roots. I don't know if you're familiar with this game.
Not at all.
The style is very
90s.
It's very weird because it's not what you think of, but I can see where they came up with it. But the style of this game is very cartoonish. Almost feels like a Double Fine game. Very over the top, cool and cute and different. Basically playing like this like frontiersman out in the wilds of Canada, Mark. He opens up, he's by the fire, and he essentially what this is, it's almost like a roguelite, but it's very fun because it does have levels. You just get through the level and you can move on. But where it is like a roguelite, almost like an arcade experience, is you have to get through a round of killing people in a very cartoonish way with whatever you find in the level. And it's very much like you're feeling like you got a kill streak because you've got to kill one guy and you do this. You can kill him with a carrot. You can break up a box, throw a box at him. You can ride a wheelbarrow if you want into him, or you can take the wheel from the wheelbarrow. You can get basically a cannonball on like a chain, like a ball and chain, and throw it at people. And some of them have more I guess your weapons have durability. So sometimes things will last 3 hits. Sometimes they last 1. And it's all about completing your run, but it's very quick. It's very fast. I don't think a round takes longer than 45 seconds.
That is fantastic.
And the movement is great. It's destructive. It is creative, and it's very fun. And I think it's on everything. But it is adorable. The kills are awesome. The movement is cool. The aesthetic is awesome. I just think this is a really fun game. It might be on Apple Arcade. I don't know. It could be very easy.
I'm looking up just the artwork is fantastic. Little like the dude's wearing like a wolf hat.
Yeah, he's like a frontiersman. Like it's almost like
he's going with a carrot to kill someone. This looks it's $25 Canadian on Switch.
High.
But I am going to see what else it's available for. So 100% count me in. This looks amazing.
Yeah, it's wild, and I think it goes on sale for like Steam for like I think you can probably find this game for like $10 or something on most services. Yeah, and if it shows up on Switch cheap, get it. It's very fun. It's that type of like that game Ape Out, if you remember that. It kind of feels like that, where you're trying to create a run, and it's just this one's much more cartoonish, where that was like jazz punk and the sound played with it. So yeah, check out Bloodroots. I think you'll really enjoy it. Something else you'll enjoy if you have Steam right now is Tunic. Tunic is a indie game which captured the hearts and minds of Xbox gamers because it was shown at an Xbox event, like kind of like just a very quick reel of indies coming, and it just captured everybody's imagination. Like this cute little fox who's basically in a Zelda game, and it's just adorable. It's very fun. So we've been wanting to play this, and we don't know. Mark, you've been trying to just say, hey, fellow Canadian, support your Canadian and come on our show and talk to us, but it's not happened yet, and that might happen. So Mark is very persuasive. Now that he's shaved, he might even like appear more young and elusive. I don't know.
Maybe.
Whatever appeals to them. But Tunic is just a very fun game. It's got sword, shield, movement, hit points, so it very much feels like a Zelda. The style is cute. There's no real talking or dialogue or anything, but it's kind of straightforward in what you need to do. And it's a very short demo, and this is essentially what they showed at conventions, Mark. So this is like their demo that they would show and let fans play if they're at a convention. I like this, that they're allowing people that don't get to go to conventions to actually try it out. It's
absolutely.
Not a secret, right? I mean, So this is out on Steam right now. I would love it if Xbox just said, here it is. Kind of like they did with Xbox for E3 last year. They had how many demos? Like 93 demos or something you try. This would be the perfect time to dump this out there.
Absolutely. Yeah. I've been waiting so much, not only because it's being made by a fellow Nova Scotian, but just because it's a cute fox, and I love foxes, and a cute little fox plus Zelda game, like stick it in my veins. Let me know when it's finished. I need this.
Yeah, it's got to be coming soon. I think we've got those feelings with those certain games. It's like, it's got to be soon. It's got to be soon. And by the way, Mark, if you have not watched The Fox and the Hound, the fox's name is what?
Todd.
So just remember that when you think about
Love
foxes.
that movie.
Yes, there you go. Yep. And the
heartbreaking and Disney.
Oh my goodness, that was like the weird era of Disney, right? The Black Cauldron, Fox and the Hound, Sword in the Stone. Just a really fun era that I grew up with, but not popular whatsoever.
Yeah, no, it's so weird. But I'm glad the movie didn't end like the book.
Oh, there was a book?
Yeah, Fox and the Hound is based off a book. Yeah, it does not end well. Don't look it up. And I just said that to people who are definitely going to look it up. But I'm sorry if I just ruined your childhood. And Todd definitely it doesn't end well. They're not friends.
No.
It doesn't end well. Anyway, so yeah, Bloodroots, Tunic. You want to talk about your last game? Because I can't believe you played something on Switch.
Well, I didn't mean to, but as I told Mark, I got Returnal in the mail from GameFly, and I'm like, oh, it's a disc. I'm going to toss it in, put the system on rest. I don't know what happened. I thought it was going to continue to copy and install in rest mode. Apparently it didn't. It just went to sleep, which is weird because I'm like, okay. So I turn it back and I'm like, Mark, I'm going to try Returnal. It's in the mail. I'm going to try it before the show, give an early sneak peek of this PS5 exclusive. People are really excited about this roguelike on Sony, high-end roguelike. And I tell Mark, I'm like, well, Mark, it's still copying. It's not loading. Like, do you want to wait? I'm like, I don't know how long this will take. And quite honestly, when I get into this game, I don't know if it's going to be like a half-hour cutscene before I even start playing, or from what I've understood about this game is once you start a run, there's no save point. So it's essentially you start over again. So This is new for me. I will talk about it on the next episode's Returnal on PS5. But that led me to Pac-Man 99, just playing on my Switch right here. And I said, I'm going to give that a try. So Pac-Man 99 replaced essentially Mario 35. It's kind of like when you get your new stepmom, right? Sorry, Mario's dead, but here, kids, here you go. Say hello to your stepfather.
Mario died so that Pac-Man could live, I guess. That is a terrible trade.
Peach likes yellow fellows. I don't know.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah, it's taken a turn. But Pac-Man 99 is similar to Pac-Man or Mario 35, where it's I guess a battle royale in a sense, where basically you're playing a solo game of Pac-Man along with 98 friends / enemies who, as they perform and do good things, they send things onto your level, and vice versa. As you're doing better, you send things onto their level. Well, Pac-Man's pretty simple. Eat the dots, eat the ghosts, get fruit, traverse. Now, I haven't got all the nuance of this game because it has it's the things you could do to Mario in Mario 35. It's basically like there's a training, speed, something else. There's a couple different things you can then do as you're doing well to others or yourself. And as you eat the ghosts, there's also these ghosts, silhouettes on your screen. You can eat them, and what they do is they add more ghosts onto your screen, Mark. So almost like you're adding on complexity, but what that also does is when a ghost turns blue, now you're eating 12 ghosts in a row. And that feeling, like in Pac-Man 256 or anything, it's just addictive, right? You're one ghost. And then if you do it too long, the ghosts change back, and it's like that pushing that point. So it's very similar to that. When you eat the fruit, it basically refreshes the maze, so it repopulates. Sometimes when you start, the whole thing isn't populated with dots. So, and when you die, you just end your game. It's one life, so it's not like multiple lives, and you end it. But it is fun, but it seems less exciting because Pac-Man was one screen. Right. Fruit, and it just got faster, and their patterns essentially just stayed the same. I didn't watch the patterns of the ghosts to see if they changed much at all. It would have been better if it was mixed Pac-Man, because mixed Pac-Man added more variety, different tunnels across the board, and it's considered a superior game.
Maybe Pac-Man will die so that Miss Pac-Man can live.
Ooh, that's maybe she's next. You get the stepmom comes in, marries Luigi. I don't know, or Wario.
You're starting some weird fanfic stuff that I'm not sure we want to dive down.
It's the early days of Pac-Man. You talk about cartoons. The Pac-Man cartoon back in the day. Oh, that was a weird one. Who knew? But yeah, I mean, it's free. I don't know how long this will last. They didn't mention Tetris 99 is still going on. Pac-Man 99 could go on forever too. It just does not seem like this is capturing anyone's attention though. So I mean, Tetris is ephemeral. I mean, it's for everyone. It's part of Nintendo's heritage. Pac-Man is less than that. So I think this will probably get replaced by something else.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see Waluigi plus Galaga Battle Royale coming real soon to a Switch near you.
Yeah, I mean, people have thought, because it's the 35th anniversary of Zelda this year, people thought maybe they would do something with Link and do something like that. I don't know if it's that easy to do because it's not just one level. It moves in a map, but maybe you could do a screen and you stay on that screen. You get more. I don't know. Maybe it's a dungeon.
Yeah. A dungeon royale or something. Yeah, so weird.
Yeah.
So weird. You never know what Nintendo's going to do, though.
No, and the good news is they are going to be at E3 this year, Mark. So we at least will know that we'll hear from them in about 5 weeks, and I'm excited for that because it's been a weird 2 years. So it's nice to have people back at E3.
Speaking of Nintendo, because I've been playing new Pokemon Snap.
Oh, that's right. You had another game. I almost forgot about the photo mode game.
Oh no, I would have slapped you with my Pokemon Rage if you skipped over this game, because it's freaking delightful. And I'm not a huge fan of the first Pokemon Snap, so don't be calling me a fanboy, because I just didn't get that game back in the day on the N64. But for this one, my wife was super interested because she's been playing like her first mainline Pokemon. I got her Pokemon Sword a few weeks ago, and yeah, it's really, really fun. I've been going through and really discovering what the mechanics are in a Pokemon Snap game. And a lot of people, I think Todd, you included, have been just saying like it's a glorified photo mode for $90. Why? But it's so much more than that. And there's so much little strategy to it of like, if I do this at this time and do this, and that this Pokemon will come out at a certain time. And I found like a few of those as you continue on, you unlock more and more kind of runs through things, and each run you do, something new happens. And the first run you do, it's like, oh, those are some like weirdly burnt fruit over in that corner of this trail, like why is that there? And then as you progress, you kind of start to figure out like, well, maybe if I throw this over there at this time. But like that took a ton of runs to figure out and finally get the little Pokemon who came down. I thought it was going to be a fire type. It was an electric type. I'm not going to spoil who it is, but and it's
this game has spoilers, Mark.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you're playing
like a story mode,
trying to find that. Well, there is kind of a story, and yeah, it's just really like from like for the gameplay kind of thing, there is a story, and you're trying to help like do this research kind of thing, and it's kind of a nice change of pace because when you think about it at the core, Pokemon games are about forcing tiny animals to battle each other. And it feels weird that you're playing as a 10-year-old who leaves their house to go and battle people unsupervised with deadly animals that can breathe fire that you captured in the wild and keep in a ball. It's friggin' weird. So this one I kind of like that, like, from an animal cruelty standpoint, you're just kind of being like, cool, you're out in nature. I'm going to snap a photograph of you and leave you in peace. That's a neat angle, even though I love the mainline Pokemon games and I won't stop playing them. But like, come at me, PETA. Anyway, like, I don't know, like there's something about this game that I'm really, really digging. And I love being able to upload my photos and be like, I really got this funny picture of Magikarp and he looked so friggin' derpy. And I was like, this one's going up right away. This one's going up on my wall. And that's the kind of thing that if I had that printer, I'd be like printing off a derpy picture of Magikarp and using that as a postcard. And Todd would get like a derpy Magikarp postcard that'd be like, hey, Todd, what's up? And that'd be it. And it'd just be like the stupidest picture of Magikarp.
The most expensive postcard in the world.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd have these plastered all over my house of just like stupid little pictures of like whatever, a Bidoof building a dam because they're just derpy little beavers. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I did not, like I said, I will reiterate, I did not like the first game. I played it. I was just like, this is stupid and pointless. Don't get it. This one 100% reels me. Like I burnt out my Switch battery last night playing this stupid game while we were watching stuff on like Netflix or whatever. And I'm hopelessly addicted to taking pictures of these dumb little creatures. It's amazing.
Someone had pitched this as almost like a Disney ride.
Yeah.
And you're like on it's a small world or something like that, where you're on on rails amusement park, but you can take photos. You kind of interact with the environment to get things. You can basically impact the environment to get photos of Pokemon. There's some I guess you'd say some randomness to that allows you to do certain things. And I would take myself out of this, Mark, because I realize there's something to this that is just not for me. But I can see where people that are like, where there's something for the whole family involved, especially with, Finn when he gets of age and he could play around with this. Could be his first Pokemon game because it's really not reading things.
He was watching me play because it's so big and bright and colorful. He was kind of watching me like he'll kind of watch cartoons or something that we put on. And so over the weekend I was, we were sitting down and he was sitting on my lap and we were watching The Lion Guard on Disney Plus, and it was just the colors and music and everything was really grabbing his attention. He's loved Doug on Plugs on Apple TV Plus for the same kind of reasons. The song in that show are banging. You should listen to it. It's great. But this game captured him in the same way of oh, I like that. And he really loves animals, any kind of videos or playing with Stella and stuff. He just loves animals. So I think it was that combination of big, bright animals that he was like, that dumb looking beaver is jumping around on their screen. You just threw an apple at it. What's it going to do? And it was like that. So something's already capturing him. It's fun.
Yeah. And it does make me think that the fact that the Switch doesn't have a camera, which is just odd considering the Wii U did, the DS units did, and the opportunity to do AR stuff like Pokemon Go, it just makes you think this could have gone a different direction. And they kind of went backwards to the N64 version where you could go to Blockbuster and print out your photos. And it's just so weird. It's just Nintendo is, like I said, Mark, they tend to put the appropriate amount of resources to maximize their profits, and this is a way to do it. Pokemon is the number one franchise ever in history, yet they probably have one of the smallest budgets in their games, which is just amazing. They can make money at Build-A-Bear and giving out, scalping on Pokemon cards for McDonald's. It's just insane. Yeah, so maybe if Finn's a good boy, I will give him my McDonald's Pokemon cards I got because although my cat chewed one of them, so sorry.
That's funny because I did get a set of those cards.
Good.
The one that Finn picked out was the fire kitten, Litten, one of the starters, and he was holding that. I'll send you a picture later. He was very excited about his first Pokemon.
You could have given me a chance to name the Pokemon, Mark, and I would have come up with something good.
Oh, shoot. Okay, what does Litten turn into? It's a fire cat. What's he turn into? What's his final evolution?
I may know this one just because I play Smash Bros. And Logan has killed me with him. What is it? Infernacat or whatever his name is.
You know what? That's even better. I'm going to leave it. It's Incineroar. But Infernacat was so much better than I thought you'd come up with.
I've been killed by that damn Pokemon a million times in Smash Bros. So yeah, not fun.
Anyway, yeah, Pokemon Snap, new Pokemon Snap is better than I expected. I don't know. Like I said, my wife was interested. I kind of said you know what? Cool. If you're interested, we're in a 2-week lockdown. Let's do something. I'm going to give it a go. And frig it. Why not? And it's good, man. It came to the point on the weekend where she wanted to play it and I wanted to play it. And I was like, am I actually going to drop $90 on a second copy of this dumb game? And that's when I started playing xCloud stuff.
There you go.
And, yeah, so that was very useful. Thanks, xCloud, because you saved me $90 on 2 versions of Pokemon freaking Snap. But it's good, man. If any of it, watch videos. If it's such a weird kind of thing, I didn't think I'd dig it, but I really do.
Yeah, I think people expected me to love this game and you'd hate it, Mark. So
yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
perceptions, are everything. Yeah. So I think it's time now for the games we've been playing to play a game of news. And this episode, once again, we're going to try to basically have one news story and understand what that does to the world of gaming. So, Mark, you actually picked this up. We had a couple different topics, and you're like, Todd, let's pivot, let's do this. So you pitched the story.
Yeah, this one came out literally this morning or this afternoon, I think, and really changed our plans. So this is how quick we can be in this podcast. We had a whole other topic ready to go, and I think we'll probably save that one for last time because it is kind of a good evergreen sort of topic. But this one, where it was such recent news and such a surprise after the news we've had and the rumors that we've had for weeks. So for anyone that missed it so far, we've got an announcement that PlayStation and Sony just announced a partnership with Discord. So announcing, this is from the SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment blog. So announcing PlayStation's new partnership with Discord. The popular communication service will integrate with your social experience on PlayStation beginning early next year. So directly from Jim Ryan, the president and CEO, this you get this. I'm not going to read the whole press briefing, but basically they've made a minor investment as part of Discord's Series H investment round. They've been in talks with people there. They love that they share a similar passion for games and experiences and all that kind of stuff. They're looking forward to bringing Discord in with the PlayStation brand and all that kind of stuff, allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, and communicate more easily while playing games together. So it sounds like Sony's going to at least give you an option to voice chat and chat with your friends while you're playing PlayStation as an alternate or maybe a replacement fully to PlayStation voice chat, which is wild. And that's kind of what we thought with Xbox. Xbox for the last few weeks, months, whatever, was rumored to buy Discord. They were in talks, $10 billion. And Discord said, nah, thanks. We're good, bro. We're going to stick independent. And everyone just kind of thought all right, well, they're going to go off and do their own thing. And then literally a week after they announced that, they're like, hey, PlayStation, what's up? So big shocks all around. What was your first reaction to hearing this news?
Well, it was surprising, but after actually heard a story on NPR about Discord, Mark. I really did not understand beyond my familiarity with how it impacts the world of gaming and communities and communication, because I'm part of a couple Discord communities. I think you are too. The way it brings people together, whether you're just texting each other, talking about stories, having groups. It has voice chat. It has limited video. Does that have video chat? I've never used it. If it does,
I think so. Yeah, but it's different.
And we've even talked about, could we use it for podcasting? So this has just definitely come leaps and bounds in, say, the last 5 to 10 years. I'm not even sure when this launched, but but I didn't realize this had such an impact on the world of education. And just even other groups using this, like in education, tutoring, online tutoring. Discord is huge. They have 140 million members, and people think, well, that's all gaming, right? No, it's not. It's a part of it, but it's not all inclusive with gaming. So this is something where they felt like, and they definitely, it's definitely kind of a democratic type of experience where they don't have overarching moderation and things. They let their communities kind of create the standard and deal with that, which is kind of nice. And so that made me think, when I thought of this, I'm like, this makes perfect sense, because they could either get bought out by Microsoft for $10 billion, where Microsoft already has Teams and Skype and different other ways of communicating and having those type of programs, and potentially be, say, assimilated in a way in one of the biggest companies in the world. Or they could create an IPO, chart their own path, make more than $10 billion potentially, and then get invested by third parties like Sony and continue to do what they want to do. And they potentially could diversify and say, this is Discord for education. This is Discord for gaming. This is Discord for, small business or whatever, like Slack plays in that spot too. So I think this is a scenario where this is a good thing. People are all in on the Microsoft train right now, but Microsoft is only as good as the people that are running it at the time, and it could change. And Discord can now chart its own future and do whatever it wants and be independent. It can partner with whoever it wants. I always thought Discord, the app, would be perfect with Nintendo. It would be something Nintendo would do, right? Yeah. Because they could stay independent, offer something with somebody that's good at something, where they don't have to be great at it. They can just offer it. And and this allows them to still do that. It allows PlayStation, where they've struggled at services, communication, those type of party chats and things like that, to get better and incorporate the communities you're already in on PlayStation. I mean, I think you've seen that where people are like, "Oh, I'm on Xbox right now, but we're chatting through Discord rather than an Xbox party." You and I, we'd struggled to play, to do party chat on Xbox with this, but if we did Discord, it's wherever you're at, you bring Discord with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and it's just, I think this is pretty cool. It's nice to see a company not change, but adapt and evolve in a way that's positive, that keeps them on their path and continues to be the company they are. I mean, we've seen Twitch grow, but they got absorbed by Amazon, right? And so it's kind of weird to see someone independent flourish.
Absolutely. So you mentioned before, a lot of people thought, a Discord app on Nintendo Switch would be a great way for Nintendo to just say, you know what, voice chat's out of our hands. We're doing Discord. We're having a partnership with them. Do you think this still opens the door? I mean, obviously, if they're staying independent, they can do what they want to. But do you think that we will see an Xbox implementation and maybe even a Switch implementation? So, Discord kind of becomes the de facto standard for voice chat for groups, for, those kind of social interactions, where Nintendo can kind of wipe their hands clean and say, you know what, we're not running it. If you feel like your child can sign up for Discord, great. If not, the parental control app is there. Cool stuff. Xbox, same kind of thing. We would have loved for them to be part of the Xbox ecosystem, the Xbox team, but we're going to jump on here and do the same kind of implementation that PlayStation is going to do. To me, that would be great, because there's so many cross-platform, cross-generational games and that kind of stuff now, that for one centralized voice chat, party chat, group kind of discussion, for that to happen where I don't have to have an AirPod in one ear and my headphones in another ear, and one thing hooked up to my phone, the other hooked up to my Xbox or my Switch, is this what's going to solve that problem and have everything integrated into one system? Do you think that's where we're heading down, or do you think this is another one of those things where Sony's going to be like, no, we invested, we're getting the Sony exclusive for a year or whatever?
I'm going to guess that Discord didn't take those dollars to be limited. I think they took those dollars to show a sign of faith that Sony is excited where they're going and can help them improve something they've been lacking against. And I would hate to see Discord be compromised because somebody's, just like if Microsoft bought them up and they were like, basically, nope, you can't play with them, not nicely, or
right.
Or if you're going to be a Discord, it's going to be better on ours versus someone else's. I would love to see everybody be able to implement this, because then you're not limited by I like it because it's this way. I mean, but if you're with your Discord friends, they travel with you regardless of what you're doing. We've always said it's nice to be in a party talking with your friends and saying, hey, I'm going to play Splatoon, want to join me? Great.
Exactly.
Join me. I don't care to talk to the people I'm playing against. I want to keep talking to my friends. And if somebody wants to play with me, we can talk about the game we're playing, but I can still have chats and say, hey, do you want to come and join me? That's where I thought Nintendo would go eventually, but they just have struggled to do that. I mean, we've seen like great chat with Monster Hunter Rise, and they incorporate it, or Fortnite integrates voice chat locally, but Nintendo still says you need an app, which is, I would say, hardly supported. Sony struggled, and sometimes it works, it doesn't. Xbox, I would say, is the best at it, but even they don't always get it right sometimes. I know when Xbox One launched, they kind of completely changed the way communication happened. So having something like this that I think people are comfortable with travels with their tribe, you would say, in a way, and you can grow that tribe and get people interested in it, and you can always travel together. It's one less barrier to, I can't communicate with people. It's causing issues. We're stuck 3 hours in and we haven't even played a game because we can't figure out our damn headsets. I think this is great.
Yeah. And I mean, it could even work for things. I mean, we were talking about xCloud. So what's stopping you? I wonder, on a technical standpoint, maybe it's taking up too much of a phone's memory or something. But, could you play something on xCloud while doing voice chat on Discord? I'd love to try that.
I think so, because I think
maybe we should jump into that and test that before the next episode, and try running, like having your headphones hooked up to an iPad or a phone and running Discord in the background, just like a phone call, and then running xCloud over the top of that and seeing if that kind of works, right? Like those kind of possibilities are very exciting as well, because as we're moving, I don't want to say moving away from the console space, but we're opening up more doors than just being stuck on a console. Is that like a cool possibility as well? So this is really exciting, and I hope that it opens up, and I hope that other companies are like, yeah, no, sure, put Discord on everything. Let's go.
Yeah, it's interesting how these companies are acting. Like Microsoft just, I want to buy it or I don't want to be involved in it, which I hope they don't do. We don't know yet if they want to play that way. Nintendo, I mean, Sony's invested in Epic. You've seen that with their investment in that software and being involved with it. We haven't really seen Nintendo do much investment. Tencent they did some investment with a mobile company. I can't remember what it was called, to do some of their mobile stuff, and that just has not
DNA.
been. Yeah, and I don't know how successful that really has been. We haven't seen like great chat. We haven't seen great performance. Some of their mobile apps have been okay. I think, as much as people hate Mario Kart, it's still around. And I think the most successful one they've got is obviously Pokemon Go, which is through oh God, is it Niantic? I'm trying to remember yeah. So it's a very interesting situation, but I would love to see everybody come to the party and say this is the best way to hang out with your friends and play games, because on PC Discord's big as well. So
absolutely.
It's just let's see more of these things happen, and let's make the barriers just to be able to stay with your friends, just drop them, and let's just have fun playing games.
Yeah. I'd love to see that. I hope the same thing. I hope this just kind of opens it up and just keeps moving in a good direction for everyone, rather than some sort of weird little pissing contest to see who's first and who owns what and all that kind of stuff. I like that Discord pulled that card and said, look, we're just going to stay and do what we think is right rather than being absorbed by someone bigger. So, Sony being the first to jump on and congratulate them, good on Sony. That's a great move. And I hope the rest can be just as smart.
Yeah, and it's really becoming this generation, as we've seen it, Mark. It seems like once you think somebody's like going to make a big mistake, they recover and they do something unexpected. Nobody saw this happening with Sony, and it's like, okay, what's next? What's Xbox going to do? What's their next move? What are they going to do that just upends the apple cart to say this is how we're going to change gaming? And then Nintendo is the one that's the wild card, right? Are they just going to stick to their guns and say, here's Pokemon Snap? It's not the biggest change in the world, but it'll sell 1 billion copies.
Yeah. Yeah,
so it's almost like it's like Nintendo going to sit on their laurels and do the little amount of work because they're very successful and they can just sell copies. So I hope we get really adventurous Nintendo, but we only get that typically, Mark, when we see them struggle, which is just a shame.
I read something today that someone said, there's no reason for Nintendo to change the Switch because it's still selling super well. And I wish I could give these people credit, because it was on Twitter and it was a good conversation, and I really can't remember who it was. And it was this morning. I was tired. I was just kind of flipping through Twitter just flippantly, but I do remember this conversation. So if you're listening and this is you, I am sorry. Splat me. But it was something along the lines of Switch is still selling. Why would they need a revision? Why would they need to change anything that they're doing? And someone brought up the fact that the Wii was selling like hotcakes until it wasn't, and Nintendo rested on that and didn't see it coming, didn't see the drop. They sat on SD, just like the Switch is sitting on just standard HD rather than pushing 4K, anything like that. And they said, like, we could be, not to say that we definitely will, but there's a potential there for people to say, oh man, an Xbox Series S is super powerful and relatively cost efficient. If the price of the newer consoles comes down at all, and Nintendo's still sticking to their price that they've had for the past 4 years, people are going to start. And then with streaming stuff, if that's good, then that's your option on the go. So you have TV and on the go. Where does Switch fit in? And if their exclusives are starting to drop, we're not seeing their top tier franchises anymore as much. Like, what's the big fall game this year? A weird Pokemon spinoff. Doubtful that we'll see Breath of the Wild 2. Like, there's a possibility that we see another Wii happen. And is Nintendo going to be ready to pivot this time? Or are we going to have another Wii U on our hands, or some sort of weird scramble in between kind of thing? I really hope that they're ready to go with a Switch Pro, and they're just waiting for the right time to launch that. But at the same time, it is kind of worrisome. It's like, oh man, yeah, history could repeat itself, where this is like the Wii all over again, where it's like, we're on top until we're really, really not on top. So it's interesting what kind of Nintendo we'll see over the next few years. And are they resting on their laurels, or are they ready to pivot? Are they just crouching tigers right now, and they've got a hidden dragon somewhere kind of waiting to unleash?
And I'll just say one more thing. Their new CEO, he has said some interesting things that are not very Nintendo-like. He has said that failure is guaranteed unless you take action. That is not what Nintendo typically does, and that's good because he is not part of the Nintendo family. He's been part of the. He's not a developer. He's not like a Watto at all, and he's not part of the family that created Nintendo. So he has a chance to potentially mold Nintendo and get them ready to say, you don't wait until you're failing, you innovate before.
Yep.
Because it's very hard to work your way up, but it's great to pivot and do something different. Kind of like Apple did with the iMac. Here's iPod. Here's iPhone.
I was just going to say it's very Apple. I think it was Steve Jobs who basically said, when they were releasing the first iPad, it was like, well, do you think this is going to be cutting into your MacBook sales? And he said, like, well, maybe, but I'd rather us cutting into our sales than someone else. Like, I'd rather that, like, as long as it's still in the company, as long as we're the one that are cutting into our own sales and it's not Amazon with a Fire tablet, then who cares? Because tablets are going to come out anyway. Someone's going to do this. So better us than someone else. And I think Nintendo has to look at it the same way and say, like, okay, who's cutting into our profits and how can we be the person that cuts that instead? So it's going to be an interesting couple of years, but I hope they take advantage of stuff like Discord and pivot that kind of way. And someone found there's a Bluetooth enabled or something like that.
Yeah, like a driver.
The most recent, Bluetooth drivers or something. The most recent firmware update for the Switch, which wasn't there before. So that's kind of leading people to say, well, maybe they're opening it up for headphones, which would open up a whole new accessory pool, a whole new way to do voice chat. So there might be some stuff happening in the background that they're laying the pieces down that we're going to get to see this puzzle real soon.
Absolutely. And I think some moves are going to be made. We're getting lots of rumblings in Japan about potential acquisitions of certain Japanese partners. Nintendo could come out of the blue and buy Sega next week or Capcom. And that would just blow everyone's minds because Monster Hunter Rise is on fire. And why not wrap that up and say, if you want Monster Hunter, you need a Nintendo system. So there you go, folks. I just let us know what you think about all of these changes in the world of the game systems we have, and where do you want them to go? Because I think it's really cool to see what we're seeing happening in the technology space.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is it for the news segment. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that ride through the world of Discord and communications. But now we're going to have a new bonus round. This is a game. And we had Polka Todd, but we figured we would pivot a little bit, have a new game. It's called Game Marketing. See what I did there, folks? Trying to be funny. But the premise is Mark is given a random character, genre, setting, or mechanic, and must pitch the game to publisher Ubitodd. So Mark has decided he wants all of the categories, but he will be selecting one of them randomly, and I will give them each. So basically, once I give these to you, Mark, I will let you know what they are. So setting is the first category. Category, you can pick 1 through 10. So 1 through 10, pick one, Mark.
Okay. Let's start off with 4.
So 4 is called, the setting is Steampunk Lane. Steampunk Lane. Okay,
All
you got
right.
that?
Yep.
All right, I'm going to mark this in the document so I can keep track. Genre, 1 through 12.
11.
11. Real-time strategy.
Oh, God.
You could pick again if you want.
No.
Gonna go with it. Okay.
I'm
You're a good man, Mark.
I'm sticking with it. Yep.
Okay, mechanic, 1 through 12.
1.
Cooking.
What?
Okay, name of the character you will be playing as, 1
Yeah.
through 10.
5.
5. Jaden Butterbeer.
Okay,
Okay,
so
let me break this down for you. So your name is Jaden Butterbeer.
yeah,
You're in a real-time strategy in Steampunk Lane, and your mechanic is cooking. So you've got to sell this idea to me. Give me as much details or way you can give some panache to this idea.
Okay. All right. So, dear Ubtod, who's going to decide the fate of my game here. I'm definitely not vamping because I'm trying to come up with how the hell this is going to work. So, picture this. Jaden Butterbeer. It's post-apocalyptic. The world is divided into different segments, different sections. Some of them are kind of newer class, higher class, very fancy. Some of them basically just underground mole people. But Jaden Butterbeer grew up on Steampunk Lane. Some of the best steampunk mechanics, they take what's old, they make it new, they make it fancy, they make it cool. And no one's better at that than Jaden Butterbeer. But Jaden, he also has a passion for cooking. And he uses that to travel across this great land. And he does so very freaking slowly in a real-time strategy, one square at a time. But sometimes he comes across creatures, mutated freaks from the apocalyptic fallout, and just some ne'er-do-wells that are like, we need your secret butterbeer recipe that your family was named after. And Jaden's like, cook you for it. And that's his catchphrase. I'll cook you for it.
Cook you for it. Nice.
And they have a real-time off in the wasteland where he has to they do a cook-off, and whoever makes the best thing, and there's a judge who follows him around. He's a little robot, but he has taste buds. And he follows Jaden around, and he tries everything. So if you can please Tasty McTastebot.
Yes, taste bots.
Taste bots. Yeah. If Tasty McTastebot, if you can please him, then you win that battle. So, and Tasty, he'll throw some things at you. Like, this one needs to be salty. This one needs to be sweet. I really want some umami in this next dish. So that's how you get bonus points, and that's how you really try to win it over. But basically, you just have to stop the punk asses from getting your butterbeer recipe that your family has held for generations through the apocalypse. And you need to get Jaden from Steampunk Lane to a brighter and better tomorrow. And that is, I'm going to call this game Steampunk Lane. because you can't get better than that. And my brain's
This kind of seemed like almost like an Iron Chef. You like that
100%.
right?
Yeah. No, that's exactly how Tasty McTastebot or whatever I said his name was. That's how he does it. He's like, ready, cook.
Ali cuisine. And he eats a pepper.
Like that. See, one of his weird things is he eats onions, big mutated onions, just raw. It's weird, but you know what? That's just how he was programmed. So
I thought you were going to go down the road like you get like mutated cannibal meat that you have to use. Because you're talking about
sometimes.
Yeah. Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay.
You never know. You got to cook with what's around you, or what you've picked up along the way. You never know when the next battle's coming. So if you have to pick up a cyber skunk that you found on the side of the road, I mean, you got to make that work, So
I like this, Mark.
That's
I like
how you
this.
make poutine.
I like your idea. I think it's got some potential, my friend.
Okay.
The mechanics, the story, it's very compelling. Might want to tweak a couple of things, like ultimately what's the ultimate goal. The backstory on the butterbeer, I think you go in more in depth than that.
I don't want to spoil anything.
Well, there you go. I think those are all the mechanics you could bring in, and really, man, I can see like
there's a deeper story there, but I don't want to. It'd be like diving too hard into how Ezio's family dies or something. You can't give away the whole game.
This is that's how you create a franchise, right, Mark?
Exactly.
You don't give it away. You see this. You're a smart man. You're a very strong developer.
This is game one in the Butterbeer Chronicles.
I like that.
So I mean, this is just Steampunk Lane, a Butterbeer Chronicles story.
Ooh.
There's many more.
There could be Butterbeer siblings, parents.
100%. Yeah.
Who knows?
It's very Assassin's Creed like. You're going to go through the whole lineage of the Butterbeer family, and eventually, you don't know where you're going to end up. It could be you're playing for the opposite team, and you're not even really doing a Butterbeer quest at all. You're just a weird Viking, but it's still fun.
Well, at UB Todd, we like franchises. We like to stretch what a franchise can do, what it can deliver. I'm sure you've got some ideas on DLC content, special recipes that you potentially could get, like, that like your this recipe book is, it would take you 12 hours to battle to get it, but a couple like schmickens, which I think we could make, could be our our content, Mark, could be how you get people.
Yeah, the special edition comes with actual butterbeer. It just comes with a keg. If you can carry it out of the store, you get to take it home.
I love this.
It's a big keg.
This is what we're talking about. This is how you make an idea into a business. So, exactly. Mark, we're hiring you.
Yeah.
Get your staff together. We are giving you a budget of $10. Make it happen.
Oh, man, what am I going to do with all those leftover monies?
I know. Well, folks, Mark did well, I think. So, Mark, game marketing, a successful episode. If you want to see more, maybe, we'll bring on other people and see if they can play the game as well as Mark. I've got all these categories ready to go. I mean, they are gold, Mark. Gold.
I love it. I don't think you're going to get any better than Steampunk Lane and the Butterbeer Chronicles. So now, let's try to top it.
I will say, though, this had resonance to a game called Battle Chef Brigade.
Oh, man, I wasn't even thinking about that.
But it wasn't real-time strategy. It was more like an RPG you fought to get your ingredients and performance. Yours is a little bit different, so I like that. Yeah. So there you go.
Right. Gotta make it my own.
Absolutely. You succeeded, Mark. You are funded. You are ready to become a developer extraordinaire.
I win.
All right. Well, that is it for the episode of Co-op Mode. So, Mark, tell people how they can find us.
Well, as I mentioned before, you can follow us at SeekerFriendsU or at @the_Canardian or at @TOxtra. I'll let you figure out who's who. But the main page for all of our shows on Twitter is at SeekerFriendsU. So that's where you can find everything. This show, the Seeker Friends Unite proper podcast, Holocron Chronicles, and Code 47. You can also find all of those shows and subscribe on YouTube and rate us and subscribe on podcast services around the globe. We also have shirts and other merch over at our TeePublic store, so just search Secret Friends Unite on TeePublic and help us out over that way too, and rep some sweet merch. There's a sale going on right now, right? Charlie tweeted about that today. I think there's a sale going on. There's a couple of sales this month, which is awesome. So if you want a little discount on some sweet merch, now's the time to do it, because that's, it's always good to get stuff for less.
Yeah, it's the best way to support our show. It funds what we do. If you have ideas on like what type of merch you would like to see, different logos, different things like that, we're working on some changes in the future of logos we will have for the Secret Friends Network. So let us know what you would like to see. Hot pants are on the table, Mark. Hot pants.
Hot pants. Every pair of pants you wear is hot, Todd. Because you're great.
I'm blushing at this point. Aw. We could also have baby apparel, some bibs.
Adult bibs. I have a penchant for drooling. So yes. There we go. Yep.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for joining us on this adventure of gaming. We hope you enjoyed it. And remember, folks, it's always better to game together.
5 years ago, a man's fantasy became reality in a form never seen before. Kitchen Stadium, a giant cooking arena. The motivation for spending this fortune to create Kitchen Stadium was to encounter new original cuisines, which could be called true artistic creations. On a cuisine! To realize his dream, he secretly started choosing the top chefs of various styles of cooking. And he named his men the Iron Chefs, the invincible men of culinary skills. The heat will be on!